To see you again.
I thank our witnesses for being here. I just got to share with you, I'm home in the district last week doing town halls, had my obligatory meeting with my county medical society. Of course, you might imagine what they were all exercised about, but one fella came up to me, stuck the American Community Survey under my nose and said, "How dare you require this type of information from me under penalty of, I guess, fine, is that right? If someone gets fined if they don't do this? Do we know what the fine is for not filling this thing out?" I'm told by staff it's $5,000.
Yeah, it's up to $5,000. And it has not been enforced for half a century. I mean, there's not been a case brought to court in half a century.
Although a misstatement of information on that form is a federal felony.
And a $10,000 fine.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty hefty load for someone to carry. And yet you look at the information, I could see why this doctor was upset. I mean, there's a lot of personal information. You get name, you get address, you get age, you get birth date, all the family members or household members' names, ages, and birth dates, telephone number. I mean, a passably good identity thief would be able to construct a fairly good alter ego of this person just with the information that's being disclosed to on a government form. So, I mean, people are nervous about drones looking in their backyard and their cattle herd. I can well understand why someone is concerned about having, at the point of government intrusion, having to give up this information. So I share with Mr. Brady the observation that there may well be a way to get this information. The information may be important, but certainly the way we're going about it has got people rocked back on their heels, and they are resisting. Look, we got an approval rating of 8% in the United States Congress. No one trusts us to do anything anyway. Why are they going to trust us with this type of information? And the whole concept of mistrust of government is something that has been obviously generated over some time, but this doesn't help. Dr. Hall, we just had a big hearing in our Oversight Investigation Subcommittee on Energy and Commerce this morning, all morning long, on green jobs. Yeah, can you tell us what a green job is?
Sure. I can tell you what the Bureau of Labor Statistics did in defining a green job. One of the things that we really encountered is that there are lots and lots of definitions of green jobs. And there's not very much agreement as to what should be green and what should not be green. But the approach that was taken in the Green Goods and Services Survey was to identify output that's green and count the number of jobs that are associated with it. We just say most occupations in those industries are normal occupations. You know, there's nothing special about them. Somebody who works pouring concrete in a windmill and somebody who works pouring concrete in a foundation, that's the same sort of job. There's nothing special about green jobs in that way. My issue a little bit with green jobs comes as putting my economist hat on. I can say when BLS designed this program, the biggest reservation I had personally as an economist was how this data was going to be used. I don't think the data should be used as a count of green jobs. It doesn't really mean much to sort of come up with a definition of green jobs and just sort of count it. In fact, I have problems with the idea that regulation might be viewed as a jobs program. What's important about green is the output, not the jobs. It's sort of ridiculous to view it as a jobs program. And if it's worth doing, if green regulations are worth doing, it's because of the output. You get an output that's valuable, not because it's a hiring program.
If I could stop you there, we heard testimony this morning from an economist named Dr. Green, ironically, that the trade-off for green jobs in various economies looked at across the world. In Italy, 2 jobs were given up, 2 regular jobs were given up for every green job created. No, I beg your pardon, that was Spain. Italy, it was 7 jobs lost for every green job created. In England, I think it was 3.5. So there's actually a toll on jobs by taking the money from the private sector and putting it into these activities. I mean, you ended up your testimony, I got to admit, you woke me up. You said unemployment is never worse than it is now, but if it were accurately reported, it would be 3 percentage points higher. Is that what you said?
If we had a better measure of labor supply, I think it would probably be up in that range, yes.
I mean, that's pretty startling information. So if part of our activity is killing the very activity that we want to enhance, it makes no sense to continue doing it.
Well, that's true, and you've touched upon my other problem with counting green jobs, is it is only counting half the story.
The gentleman